guys, I'm Liv, and this is my first YouTube video. I am a full-time ceramic artist based in Connecticut. I'm on TikTok and Instagram at bumble.ceramics. If you don't already follow me, then go ahead and go check me out. I've literally never done anything like this before, so we're just gonna figure it out together as we go. But this channel is going to be meant for some BTS in my studio, behind the scenes of me making things, prepping for markets, getting ready for workshops, all the cool, fun, and sometimes boring stuff too. So for this first video, I plan to show you around my studio, which is what is behind me. I've had a lot of requests about for my studio, so that's what we'll be doing. We'll be checking out all the little spots that I spend all my days all alone. Well, I'm going to ask you guys to let me know in the comments any questions that you might have for me too, so that I have some questions that I can answer for future videos or future ideas for any videos that you might want to see. Please let me know, and don't forget to like and subscribe. But really though, that would be a lot of help. I would really appreciate that. We'll see what happens. Enough of me yapping. Let's get started and check out my cool studio behind me. When you first walk in, to the right, you'll see my lovely little setup over here. This is where I take my photos and my pictures of things that I list online on my website. I have a few little random things that I use for flower stems when I take my pictures. So they just hang out here. I got this ironing board from Facebook Marketplace a couple years ago because I thought it looked cool, and I thought it would be a really cool little table for photos. There you have it. This is a sheet that I got from I don't know where, but it's a bed sheet that I now have just turned into a backdrop for my things. So my floors I painted myself when I first moved in here a couple of years ago, and it was a lot of work, but it was worth it because I think it makes my space pop more, and a lot of people talk about the floors and say how cool they look, and they'll ask, oh, who did that? And I'm like, me. Okay. Then to your left, as you walk in a little further, I have my little seating area. So this is kind of just a cozy area that I have some books that I use for inspiration and cozy chairs that I'll just relax in if I have no motivation to do anything else and think about life and things like that. I've got some cool books here by a bunch of different potters, one being A.P. Shrewsbury, Mug Lover. Very cool. It's just a book of all of his like different designs and mug designs. So that's cool and helps me. May Ceramics, her hand-built book, which is also very cool. I won't lie, I haven't looked at this all that much because I don't do a lot of hand building, but it's still really cool for people to check out when they're here. I have a few others, but those are the main ones that I am mostly proud of. I have some nice smelly candles. And I've got a breadstick candle too. Directly across from my cozy corner is my merch. I've got my t-shirts, my Bumble Ceramics t-shirts, cream, brown, black. My newest design, Need More Mud, that I'm very proud of. You can go and buy one on my website, bumbleceramics.com. You can order it, and I can ship it anywhere in the United States. My totes, and I have hats, cool hats that I'm also super excited about, and there's a few left that I think you probably would love. So yeah, Corner is a shelf of designs of mine that are on my website right now, still technically available. If you see anything you like, you also can go on to my website and order it to be picked up in Central Village, Connecticut, or have it shipped to you. Over to this shelf directly across is just a new shelf that I got for markets and things, and we spray painted these blue to make it pop more and look pretty cool and funky and fresh with my designs and pieces. On my shelves, I have a couple of like custom pieces and orders that I've done of some recent designs. One of my staple bee mugs is where they sit for now, but this is just kind of a shelf that randomly sits here. Then you look down the center of my studio floor, and I have this nice big wooden table and that other wooden table in the back that my dad built for me when I moved into the studio. And this one I use for workshops when I have like carving and painting workshops, and I usually have a bunch of stools around the table. But I don't right now because I haven't had a workshop like that in a little bit. It's just used for when I glaze my pieces here, or when I latex my pieces here, or if I have like an overflow of stuff, I'll put it on this table. It's perfect because it's nice and big and I can use it for basically anything. Turn left from the big table, and in this little corner over here, I have my sinks. They're kind of messy and dirty right now, so ignore that. I've got some splash pans and things in there that need to be washed. I also have my clay buckets that are very dry. Those need to be refilled with water, and then what I'll do is I'll mix them up and reclaim them. I still need to get a plaster table to do that, to reclaim, but that's the plan, is to fill all these back up so that I can reuse them and make them into more pots. I have all kinds of art on this wall. This is one of my gallery walls. It's just a bunch of like either random things that I've gotten in antique stores or cool little shops, local art and artists that I've bought from, along with online artist friends that I bought from, like the Creative Traveler. That's her print up there. I've got one of my little hooked rugs that I've gotten from an artist. Yeah, mostly just a bunch of little fun random things that I've started to collect and accumulate. So yeah, I like to collect things, if you couldn't tell. The lighting in this corner of my studio is a little bit weird and funky, so apologies for that. This is my big shelf that I put the majority of my stuff on. This is the start of my next collection. A little preview of my next collection that I've slowly started. This will fill up, like completely fill up. For now, it's just these few things, few designs that I've started to work on. This is more of my graveyard, except these are pieces that haven't been fired yet, so you could technically just break them right off. It's greenware that has completely dried and either cracked before I finished it, or I dropped it, and I kind of just like collecting it so that people can see that I mess up too, and I mess up a lot. So it's kind of fun to see all the weird pieces that I was in the middle of working really hard on, and something went wrong. So I just let it all kind of collect here. But this isn't all of it. I usually either reclaim or throw out some things. This is just a few. On the other end of the shelf, I have my drying rack. So this is where I put all of my greenware or all of my pieces that are drying to then go into the bisque firing, which is the first firing. Right after I finish making them and carving them and painting them, I set them on here upside down to dry, because when I put them upside down, they tend to dry more evenly, with the bottom drying just as fast as the top of the mugs. There's not a lot right now, it's just those three. Usually this is completely filled top to bottom. One of my staple collections and pieces is my patchwork design I've had for the past year or so. This year I've kind of revamped the patchworks. This is one of my most recent ones. It's a Venus flytrap on top of a bunch of patchwork patterns and designs that I put together on the mug. And then the back side is a little cactus. So just a little sneak at my things. I'm sure you'll see more soon if you want to follow me and subscribe. Okay. Next are my wheels. I started out with that wheel way at the end, that brownish wheel. That's my Clay Boss wheel. I've had for years now and is like my trusty wheel that I've always used. I have these 4 wheels. These are the Shimpo Whisper wheels. I've used them for my throwing workshops that I've started this year. I was able to get them last year at the end of the year, right around Christmas. It was like the perfect time to get them, because if I got them any later into this year, I would have had to pay literally an arm and a leg for them
because of tariffs, unfortunately. So,
I'm very glad that I got them last year when I did. Each wheel has a stool and a bucket with goodies in it for throwing. Obviously, they're splash pans, and they all are electric, so they plug right into the wall. But these are really fun because I have a lot of date night workshops here, and people love to just come and hang out for a couple of hours, learn how to throw, have some fun, and then they basically get to just go home, and I'll trim all their pieces and glaze them for them, and then they pick them up. So it's very chill and fun. I'm all about chill here. And right across from the wheels, you have your other drying racks. So this is what I put my freshly thrown pieces on. I keep them on their bats and let them dry here for a few hours or however long it takes, depending on humidity and weather and all that fun stuff. So that's what these things are, that are kind of ugly, wrapped up in plastic bags that I've cut up and spread across all of the pieces, because you don't want them to dry too quickly before you trim them. So that's why it looks kind of ugly and not cute over here. Back to my wheel over here in the corner. This is where I spend, I would say, like a third of my time. This is where I throw all of my things, where I trim all of my things. As you can see, my wheel is not super clean. That's okay, because most potters will get it. We aren't very on top of cleaning as much as we should. It is what it is. Okay, next is all of my bats. These are the things that I was just talking about that were on my drying shelves. These are all of the things that I throw on. So I put this on the wheel and then throw with my clay right on it. So I keep them all right here, right next to my wheel, that I can grab it nice and easily. And of course, I have my little random shelves. It mostly has trimming tools and stuff like that. Crusty rulers that haven't been cleaned in a long, long time. Just random that I've had and honestly don't really know where to put. Just sits there. This table is where I spend the majority of my time. Underneath, I have my bags that I use for drying my pieces, which is what I use on my shelves to cover them so that they don't dry too quickly. I have my boxes of clay in here. That's where I grab all my clay from, use to throw and make all of my pieces with. I have my underglazes on this table, and this is what I use to paint all my pieces. So all of my designs, any design that I have that has that like matte paint in it, that's what these are. These are getting kind of crusty and gross looking too, but they sit here basically all the time because I will sit right here at this chair and work on my pieces. That way I can just grab the glazes as I go. I have one of my pieces that I'm working on right now that needs to be painted, so I started painting. I've done 2 layers of each color. Gotta finish it with the rest of the piece. That's why this is here. And this mug holds a bunch of other carving tools and painting tools and brushes. Of course, I have my crusty sketchbook that I have used not too much over the years, because I started off just going for it with my designs. I wouldn't even sketch it out. but it wasn't until maybe like last year or the year before I just started drawing my designs into my sketchbook to help me get an idea of what I want or what I envision for my designs. So yeah, some are loose designs and some are more detailed. It's wherever my mind is going in the moment of my thoughts. Behind me is my first gallery wall that I started when I first moved in here, and this is basically the same as my other gallery walls. A lot of it is either things that I've had for a really, really long time, I've just found a nice little spot for in this corner, or it's been things that I've collected on trips, other art from local artists. This is another local artist. Woven rugs that I've gotten on trips. And right next to the gallery wall is this junky corner, yet another kind of weird, crusty corner where I have my packing things. So I have my cardboard boxes that I pack with, which I need to order more of those. These are my biodegradable packing peanuts that I also use, and I also need to get more of those. I have my packing paper here that I use to wrap all of my things in when I ship them out. Business cards, little baggies for my worry stones that I make. A lot of like little random things that I use for packing and shipping, along with my display boxes that I use for markets and pop-ups that I either host or go to. So this has like all of my boxes that I use display for my tables at markets. It's a lot of stuff. Ignore the mess, please. This is my desk that I use for packing. I'll print labels here. I'll answer emails here. I'll pack up boxes, write down little notes for myself. I've got all kinds of stuff underneath here too. This is my speaker. I blast true crime podcasts from every day while I work on my sweet little pots. And more business cards here. My lovely map of the United States. All of these little pins are orders and people that have ordered from me across the country. I only sell within the United States for now, but it's pretty cool to be able to see how many states I have my pieces in and how many of you have my things in your homes across the country. So pretty cool. Printer paper, my label paper that I use. I've got some ink for my printer, the rest of the pins for my map. I've got chalk markers here for my calendar that I try to keep up with, but I'm not always the best at keeping up with. Just more of a crusty corner. Across from my desk is this shelf. On the bottom I have another not for sale sign, my graveyard, my Bumble Ceramics graveyard. These are all either like older pieces that I just haven't really sold in a long time, or they're not food safe, or there's some reason that I can't sell them, like they're broken or something. That's what that section is. These are bisqueware pieces that have yet to be glazed. Some are broken and cracked, and others just haven't been glazed. That's why they're just sitting there on the shelf waiting. I have more of my underglazes in these boxes, just back stock of underglazes. This whole shelf is all my glazes. So these are for the glaze firing, which is I fire to cone 5. These are the glossy glazes that give the pop of color and that little shine while you're drinking out of them, and that's what all of these are. I use mostly Mako and Amico glazes. I try to mix it up sometimes. The rest of it is all just stuff for workshops, sponges, canvases, mats. I mostly use my glazed shelf here. some old mixing buckets that I've used a couple of times when I used to use dip glazes, but now I don't do a lot of dipping. I mostly brush on, which is a pain in the butt and takes much longer. I just tend to like things that take a long time and are harder work for myself. Don't know why, but I do. Last but not least, we have our kiln room. My first kiln that I got from Rusty Kiln in Wyndham. Go give them a follow. Love them very much. They're awesome. I've worked with them for many years now since I started. They're super helpful and just really great people. Go check them out. This was my first kiln. It actually has a bisque firing cooling right now that I need to unload soon. I'll give you a little sneak of what's in there. Soon to be unloaded and glazed. But we'll let that cool a little bit longer. Behind me is my L&L kiln, and I mostly use this for glaze firings because it fits more pieces. This one has been great. I've had this one for about a year now. I have my window with a window fan in there to help keep circulation in here. Soon I'll have to get a vent for kilns. I had a vent in the old space of my last kiln, and now I need to transfer it for both of these kilns. So that's my studio where I spend all of my days, literally all of my days every day for hours and hours and hours on end. I love it, and I hope that you did too. Let me know if you guys have any questions at all or comments about my space. I would love to explain more to you or talk to you more about all of it. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys checking me out for my first video. I'm excited to make more of me working in the studio, working on projects, prepping for markets, all kinds of things. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. In the meantime, make sure you go follow me on Instagram at bumble.ceramics, TikTok at bumble.ceramics. Check me out. Give me a like. Give me a comment. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. I don't know what else. That's all, I guess, for now. Please go do that. Thank you.